The Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off a very impressive win versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in preseason week 1. Now, with that being said, I don't want to sit here and overreact because at the end of the day, it is just preseason. However, also with that being said, there were a ton of guys who not only looked good, but looked amazing, not only in the offense, but in the defense of this team. And in this video, I kind of want to break down everything that we saw, all of the takeaways from preseason week 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The guys who look good, the guys who look bad, and the guys who have a bright future here in Pittsburgh for years to come. So I'm going to cover all of that in this video. Before we jump in, I need you guys to do me a big favor and smash that like button just so we can get this video out to more Steelers fans around the world. But also subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be covering the entirety of the offseason, which includes the rest of free agency, any trades, training camp, preseason, regular season, everything you can think of. I've got you guys covered, so join the family, as well as I will be streaming some Steelers games throughout the season. Now, I do apologize because I cannot show the actual game footage of the Steelers versus Buccaneers due to copyright restriction, so I am going to be showing you some training camp highlights as well as some other things in this video. So I do apologize for that, but I cannot show the highlights of the game. Now, without any further ado, let's get into today's video. Now, one of the biggest takeaways, in my opinion, after watching this game was Kenny Pickett and the starting offense looked like they had relatively no rust at all. This team looked good, they look cohesive, and they look like they've been building chemistry over the last few weeks at a very high level, and they already seem like they've been playing with each other for decades. Now, the number one thing that I saw was the offense looked a little bit different compared to 2022. Now, what I mean by that is Matt Canada was a guy who was, criticized a lot last year because their offense was very bad in terms of, getting yards after the catch. But this offense, brought a new dynamic. There was a lot of short throws over the middle, finding Diontae Johnson, finding George Pickens for big chunk plays. And I feel like that's probably what we're going to see a little bit more of. We're going to try to see a lot more catch and run in this offense. And that is something that I do want to see. I feel like it's something that could benefit, not only Kenny Pickett, but this whole offense in general, just adding a new dynamic to this team. Now, Kenny Pickett looked really sharp. Now, again, it's just preseason, and I don't want to overreact, but he looked really good. He looked better. He looked more of a leader. He looked more confident in what he was doing, and he just looked better, I guess I could say. Now, the team did convert on a couple of third and long situations, which they weren't very good at doing last season. Now, he had, Pat Freiermuth, Jalen Warren, Diontae Johnson, George Pickens. These guys really helped this offense get going. And honestly, during that first drive, they looked absolutely incredible. Pickett would finish the drive 6 of 7 for 70 yards in a dart touchdown, or not dart, but like a beautiful lofted touchdown pass to George Pickens in the end zone. Absolutely beautiful, and that was something that I wanted to see more of. I want to see how he was going to connect with some of these wide receivers, and off first glance, Kenny Pickett looked very, very good. Now, another guy that looked absolutely amazing, and guys, this looks like it could be one of the steals of free agency because it just happened a few days ago. Quan Alexander has stepped in and has brought something that the team has been missing over the last few weeks of training camp. You have Landon Roberts, you have Cole Holcomb, you have Mark Robinson, but Quan Alexander brings a whole new dynamic to this team, and he really looked like he bolstered this front seven, and is already explosive addition to this defense. Now, he's a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, but man, he looked good. He was flying all over the field. He was, finding the ball in almost every single play, and he made some great hits as well. So, I feel like Quan Alexander might be a day one start on this team. It was something I was very reluctant to, predict in the past, but after seeing game 1, and again, I don't want to overreact, but Quan Alexander looked the part, looked really, really good. He had one of the biggest hits of the night versus Chase Edmonds, so that was incredible. I just think that this is a perfect fit. I don't know how they got him so late, but they did, and he is here to stay for at least the foreseeable future. So that is something I took note. I think that is amazing. And then the last thing I really want to talk about is Calvin Austin. Now, if you guys have been on the channel, I've been talking about Calvin Austin for probably the past 6 months, talking about This dude is about to break out. His speed, athleticism, awareness, IQ as a shifty wide receiver, and if you can just get the ball in his hands at any sort or any time, this man can make guys miss. He can make big time plays at any moment of the game, and he showed that during yesterday's game with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Absolutely lit it up. And it wasn't too long before we saw Matt Canada be like, okay, we need to get this guy the football. It happened really early, happened really often, and or in training camp. In this game, it happened pretty well too. Now, he was just a absolute jet. Once he gets a lick of room, a lick of getting past his defender, it's pretty much over with. You already lost. So you have to be a top-end speed guy to be able to keep up with him, because he has good route running, electric speed. And once he has the football in his hands, I mean, it's truly so tough to stop him. He had an incredible hookup with Mason Rudolph for a 60-yard gain in the third quarter. And he did have a handful of incompletions early in the game, but just 2 plays after an incompletion, a 67-yard touchdown, which was absolutely amazing. I mean, he beat his man off the line on a go route, and from there it was nowhere to be found. He was not going to be stopped from there, and that was it. He also ran the ball with a couple of carries as well, which is something I kind of figured was going to happen. Some end around, I think he's going to line up in the backfield a couple of times here this season. So I'm actually very excited to see what he brings to this team. Obviously, we know he was out last year with an injury, so he's fully healthy. He looks good, and I'm excited to see how he progresses over the next couple of days here. But overall, I think it was a really good game for the Steelers in terms of progressing some guys, getting some playing time for some young guys. Mason Rudolph actually looked pretty good. 7 of 12, 132 yards and a tutty. Kenny Pickett, 6 of 7, 70 yards and a tutty. I think Kenny Pickett looked really good. Mitch Trubisky, on the other hand, did not look so great. Tanner Morgan did not look so great. But overall, a pretty solid day for the quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett. Running back room, didn't see too much at all. I would say maybe it was a good day for Anthony McFarland. Only got 3 carries, which tells you that they highly regard him over here in Pittsburgh. And then Jalen Warren was okay. Calvin Austin got some good carries. Darius Hagans wasn't amazing. Greg Bell was pretty bad. And that's about it for the running back room. Receiver room, Calvin Austin 2 for 73 and a touchdown. Connor Hayward was okay. George Pickens had that touchdown catch, the 33-yard touchdown catch. Deontay Johnson had a couple of snags, 3 of them. And then we saw a little bit of Akeem Butler. He looked okay, 17-yard catch for him. Pat Freiermuth had a 6-yard catch. But overall, most of the starters didn't really play too much. Obviously, we saw that coming in. James Pierre had 9 tackles, so he was a guy that really stood out. Mark Robinson, and then obviously Quan Alexander looked really good. We got to see a little bit of Nick Herbig, so I like seeing him a little bit. But overall, a good day here for the Steelers. Let me know what you guys think. What is your breakdown of yesterday's game? I should be covering their next game as well. So make sure you guys join the family as well as all of training camp. Join the family channel, post notifications, and let me know what you guys think. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. And if you love playing fantasy sports like football, basketball, baseball, and so many other sports, but also love being able to win money, you're going to want to stick around for this whole segment. Introducing Underdog Fantasy, the ultimate platform for fantasy sports lovers. Do you want to experience the thrill of drafting your team and competing for huge prizes? Well, look no further. With Underdog Fantasy, you get access to a wide range of fantasy sports, including football, basketball, baseball, and so much more. But here's what makes Underdog Fantasy stand out from all of those other apps. They've got quick and user-friendly drafting process, a unique and exciting game formats, fair and competitive contests for all skill levels, and attractive bonuses and promotions. Not only can you draft teams and compete with others, but you can also play a game of higher and lower, which is personally my favorite thing to do on there, but you can potentially win 20 times the money you put down. And if you use code MattyDubs when you sign up, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. And what that means is basically when you deposit, let's say $100, they'll give you a free $100 to use and play with. Click the link in the description to get started, or head to the website right now to start dominating the fantasy world. And don't miss out on all the fun. Be a part of the Underdog community starting now. And don't forget, if you use code MattyDubs, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Let's get started. Get into drafts with me starting today.